doing more housework. Hey. Form an orderly queue, ladies. I may be fat and furry, but I'm domesticated. I left the immersion heater on a little bit too long, so might have to add a bit of cold water into this one. Nice and easy day. Been shopping, been to Tesco's. Some young twerps were in there. And there seems to be this massive fascination all of a sudden, about, I don't know, anything and everything. Some young twits. I don't know what you'd refer to them. I haven't got a clue whether they'd be hipsters or whatever. I don't care. And I'm down the meat aisle in Tesco's, buying sausages and pork steaks and chicken bits and all the usual crap. And there's about four. Was it four? Yeah, 4 or 5, whatever, I can't remember off the top of my head now. It's unimportant, whatever. Come wandering round the corner and I'm picking stuff up. Now I've let myself go a little bit, it must be said, you know. I'm a bit rotund. I'm picking up the sausages, I think it was at the time. I heard one of them say, no wonder he's fat, look at that. He got enough meat, or whatever words that, you know, kind of fat shaming I suppose you'd call it. What? What in God's name? Why would people do that? I just looked at him and if I was as thin as you, mate, I wouldn't be able to punch as hard as I can. Oh dear. Why do people do that? It's just bollocks, isn't it? It really is, it's just bollocks. The thing was, a couple of aisles, I was walking around, a couple of aisles down, there was a disabled woman in one of those scooter things. She was a relatively large individual. Very large individual, but she's disabled at the end of the day. There's various, probably medical reasons. You just sit there and you think, okay, this is me, I'm not exactly massive, am I? I'm a bit, you know, I have some moobs, but, you know, other than that, it's... They see an elderly woman in a scooter, what are they going to say then? You just... It's the generation that have never been hit when they were growing up, that's the problem. You know, oh, you can't hit a kid, it's child abuse. No, it's called punishment and discipline. It's called keeping them in check. Bugs you, doesn't it? But whatever, it is what it is. Such is life. It's going to become more and more common these days. It's just the way things are going. It seems to be this massive thing if you're not, I don't know, the in crowd, whatever the hell that is these days. Always used to be the in crowd were the ones that could hit the hardest, you know what I mean? Nowadays the in crowd are the ones that look most like a film star. Crap in a... But anyway, I had a successful shopping trip. Got the usual boxes of Magnums, as you do. At the end of the day, yes, I am a fat bastard. At least I'm trying to be. Oh dear, it gets you, doesn't it? Well, that's that done. If you're a bloke and you do housework and things like that, housework is a heck of a lot like making love to a woman. It really is. Because you flail around for about half hour not really knowing what the hell you're doing, making funny noises. And then you collapse back on the sofa, beer in hand, convinced you've satisfied the wife. Ah. Yes. All this carnage going on over in America with the elections. I mean, oh dear. Who's right, who's wrong, who's best, who's bad, I have to ask this question. If you're in an election period of time and the only thing that's going on is one side slinging mud at the other, they're not debating the actual issues anymore, they're just, oh well he did this, oh well she's done that. And I'm not taking sides, by the way. So as you're aware, I'm English, it's an American thing, I am not opening that can of worms. But surely, if you're just doing that, scrap the 2 candidates you've got and start again. It's getting bonkers. It really is getting bonkers now. What's this one? Right. This I've just been going down Twitter. Sorry about that. But this is one of the things I've seen. Supposedly, again, this is on Twitter. It's not verified, but supposedly, according to Colin Powell, a quote by Colin Powell, Hillary Clinton is a 70-year-old person with a long track record, unbridled ambition, greedy, non-transformational, with a husband still dicking bimbos at home. Eh? And I've seen the same kind of things with Trump, and I'll see if I can find one of them. Oh yeah, there's that. Yeah, there it is. There we go. There we go. Basically, it's Trump with his arm around his parents, supposedly, according to this, and his parents are wearing Klan outfits. It's a photo I would guess 70s, I guess, I don't know, 70s, 80s, one or two. And his parents are supposedly, I know nothing about the history of his parents. And it's basically about how he's a racist because his parents were Klan members. It's got to the point now where you are condemning somebody for their parents. You are now condemning somebody for a previous generation. And I want to point something out. My dad's parents were Baptists. My dad, as far as I'm aware, is the same. I know he goes to church. I have been baptised. I know nothing about the Baptist religion. Nothing. Other than John the Baptist, I know sod all. And you got people obviously having to go at Hillary for what her husband did. Really? And then having to go at Trump for what his parents did. Oh, well, he has to know because his parents were. My dad's a Baptist. I know nothing about that religion. Sod all. And it's supposed to be a political debate, and I know Clinton is arguing on a lot of issues, you know, but it's a prepared speech, and I know Trump is bolstering, he's sabre rattling, he's doing the popularist thing. But it's just got to the point now where if you're going to start arguing over previous generations, if you're going to go back and start arguing, oh well, this is this because of that generation and they're only going to perpetuate blah, 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 then I hate to point this out to everybody, but Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves and was a Republican. If you're going to start going back to different generations, then okay, Republicans are racist, they freed the slaves. If you're going to start going back to different generations. So it's got to the point now where if it's such a conundrum, if you can't win without slandering the opponent, you know, if you can't win based on the actual issues, and this is for both sides, okay, Democrats and Republicans, get rid of your candidates and start again. It's just getting bonkers now. This is going to be the leader of the free world, isn't it? I mean, I don't really care who you are. The only true symbol of freedom on this planet is that. And he's going to be the leader of the free world, and you're arguing over parents, husbands. What? No, okay, I'm English. You know, I'm over here on a tiny little coastal island off of mainland Europe. You know, I understand. But from an outsider's perspective, and I'm not saying you should vote for Trump, and I'm not saying you should vote for Clinton. In actual fact, I'm saying you shouldn't vote for either of them. Start it again. But, it's everywhere I look. Trump said this, Clinton said that, Clinton did this, Trump did that. What about the homeless? What about all the areas that have been hit by massive weather storms that can't afford to rebuild, receiving virtually no federal funding? Education. You know, oh well, we'll build a wall to stop the immigrants from Mexico. Okay. Fair enough. What about the education? You know, you've got this Obamacare thing. That's, oh well, it's illegal because of this. Oh well, it's dodgy because of that. Oh well, it's a good idea because of this. It's a health service. Now maybe I'm chatting a load of crap because I'm from the UK and we have the NHS. But surely you should have a medical system in place for those that aren't lucky enough to afford private medical cover. Because medicines and treatments are massively expensive. Really expensive. It's a political hot potato though, isn't it? Now one thing I'm going to say, and this is going to make it a political hot potato for me over in the UK, is, as far as I am concerned, the NHS should be there for those that need it. Massive intake of breath. Everybody knows that large corporations, you know, really big corporations of multinational... Oh God, the phone's going off. Hold on. Yeah, I forgot to pay the water bill, and that was the water bill telling me I paid it yesterday, but obviously it hasn't gone through the system yet. So that's what that interruption was. But no, going to the NHS, you know, you've got your large corporations, your big ones, your big blue chippers, and companies that employ, say, over 1,000 people. Okay, let's just grab a number. Over 1,000 people. Everybody knows they don't pay the full rate of tax, and it's always an ongoing issue. It's a big argument. It's a hot potato on both sides. Well, instead of trying to tax the money out of them, why don't you create legislation that once you get to a certain size, a certain amount of employees, you are forced, as a company, to provide fully comprehensive medical cover for your employees and the employees' direct family. Spouses, children. That's it. Yeah? There you are then. The NHS can claim the money back from any treatments via insurance. Massive tax burden lifted. And then it's freed up, all the money going into it is freed up to treat the people who are not in the lucky enough position to be able to afford medical cover and insurance or work for a larger company. I've always believed that the NHS should be there for those that need it. Why is it somebody like Alan Sugar has a funny turn, ambulance goes out, takes him to an NHS funded hospital, he has life-saving surgery at massive expense, he never pays the bill, he gets to private recovery, costs are covered, but the massive expense of the operation and everything, all the life-saving bits and bobs, no, he doesn't have to pay it. Why? He's a billionaire. Do you see what I'm getting at? So I kind of understand the American ideology behind not having a free-for-all health service. But you've got to have something pretty well funded in place for those that can't afford it. And that's my personal view on that subject. Because the money that you could potentially save by bringing in that legislation would sort out all the issues with the NHS. You'd free up enough money to reinvest and sort that, and then you'd have enough money left over for, I don't know, say, free education, you know, that kind of thing. I'm just, you know, I'm throwing crap at the wall at the moment, you know, But why don't we have that system? Why don't large companies that have very good tax accountancy and lawyers who can find all the loopholes, get them through it, why can't they be forced to provide fully comprehensive medical insurance and stuff like that? Why? Surely companies have a duty to protect the health of their employees. You know, because the healthier your staff are, the less time off sick they're going to have, and the more productivity you're going to have. And most large companies are going to self-insure anyway. And of course the insurance costs tax deductible. They're not paying the right amount of tax to put into the NHS anyway, so they might as well cover the insurance so the NHS can get the exact cost back. It's just an idea. But it's been on my mind for a while. And with everything that's going on, and I'm kind of bored today. I mean, I've done the shopping, done the housework, got a beer on the go. I'm just a bit bored. So I'm letting my brain run away with me, you know. But it's amusing, isn't it? Why can't we do something like that? What's so wrong about it? You know, companies, they need employees with a certain level of education. They need a relatively healthy workforce. So if they provide the medical cover so the NHS can claim it back, the costs back, thus, you know, freeing up the tax burden of running the NHS to quite a large degree when you think about the amount of people that are employed by large companies that would fall into this criteria, then all of a sudden you free up the money for the education system, which improves the education of your population. Thus, the companies are getting the level of education they need from the local populace and having a healthy workforce. I can't actually see an issue with that. Obviously it's got to be a for-profit company. You know, you don't want to go and find a charity with 1,000 workers suddenly having to foot the bill for all of that kind of stuff. But a couple of nuances to get around, a couple of ways of implementing it. What's wrong with that? It's bonkers the way it is done, though. You know, because you've got all the wealthy people who do have private insurance and private cover. But if they have a funny turn and it's an emergency, it's a 999 emergency, it's not going to be some private ambulance comes and gets them and ferries them away. It's going to be an ambulance, state funded, ferrying them to a state funded hospital where a state funded surgeon and medical team perform a state funded operation to save the life. And then the recovery costs are going to be covered by the insurance company. And sod all is recovered by the NHS. It's a bit bonkers, isn't it? It's a bit odd. But whatever. You know, I've said something about the American political stage, so I've got to say something about the UK political stage. I have to. It is odd. And there's one question I'm going to pose, or a statement I'm going to make now, and it's to do with the basic minimum wage, the living wage. If the living wage goes up from, say, £7.20 to £10 an hour, what's going to happen to the price of all the products you buy? Well, they're going to go up. And they're going to go up at an overinflated cost, because businesses are going to argue, oh, well, our wage bills have gone up too much. So if you raise a wage from £7.20 to £10 an hour, you make £10 the same value as £7.20, because the cost of everything around you goes up. So based on that premise, and the fact that there has been various surveys carried out recently of people born in the 70s versus people born in my decade of the 80s, and by the time the people who were born in the 70s were roughly my age, the average wage was around the 50k mark, the average age for people of the 80s, of my age, is around the 30k mark. And if I'm lying, I'm dying, have a look. Then increasing a basic minimum wage, it doesn't matter. The cost of living goes up in line with it, thus making whatever you jump to worth what it used to be. So you're never actually improving, but you're bringing everybody else who's better paid down to that level because their wages aren't going up at the same rate. I mean, look around you. Look at my generation. We can't afford saving. Most of the people, 16 million people, I think that was a figure, don't have any savings at all. None. I'm one of them. And people are like, oh well, we don't understand why wages are so low. Because there's no wage competition. A basic minimum wage is a maximum target as far as a company is concerned. Where's your overtime after 8 hours? Well, there isn't, is it? I know security guards who are on the living wage on Christmas Day. Where's the overtime? Where's the wage competition? There isn't any. There doesn't need to be. We can't figure out why wages are so low. Oh really? You've got a basic minimum wage. How can you go out on strike for a better wage? All the boss has to do is say, well look, we're paying what the government stipulates. Knackered you. It's completely knackered your argument. So I'm just raising that as well whilst I'm at it. You can have a go at me if you like, but think about it. If Tesco's know what Sainsbury's are paying for their shelf stackers, they're going to pay the same. But if Tesco's don't know what Sainsbury's are paying for their shelf stackers, then they're going to have to try and attract people that they need to stack the shelves. And so they're going to have to say, well, we'll give you time and a half over 8 hours, we'll give you double time at the weekend. And Sainsbury's will be like, well, why aren't we getting the staff but Tesco's up? Well, we'll give you time and a half over 8 hours, double time on the Saturday and double time and a half on a Sunday. Or we'll give you a bit of an extra discount here, or we'll give you a cover here, or so on and so forth. And then you get that kind of competition. And of course, because their wage bill isn't going up hugely as a result of it, because it depends on who does the overtime and who doesn't, the shelf prices aren't going up at the same rate, and the companies can't hide behind, well, the government just increased our wage bill, so we're going to have to increase prices, we've got to cover this cost, we've got to pass it on. They can't hide behind that. Because the overtime thing isn't guaranteed. It isn't, not everybody's going to do it. So it's that kind of weird, why in a capitalist system would you have, where companies need to make profit, a minimum wage? Because as far as a company is concerned, it's not the minimum they must pay you, it's all they must pay you. To you, it's a minimum, or living wage. To the company, that's all we need to pay them. And there you go. But anyway, that's just my brain running away with me. Apologies. But anyway, I'm going to end today before I say things that are really going to land me into crap. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share about, do whatever it is you usually do. I've got a shift tomorrow at 11:15, so there will be something tomorrow. Back to normality. But it's just what I was thinking about today. Anyway, I shall catch you later. Take care.